Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Today we're covering the soccer anime Blue Lock.
Yes, I wanted to see this from the time I first saw just the poster. I hadn't even seen the trailer. I knew I was going to love it, and I did. Now, in this anime, Japan's drive to win the next World Cup results in the creation of Blue Lock. It's a training facility that takes hundreds of soccer players from across the country, and they constantly pit them against each other, so only the greatest one within them can become Japan's next champion.
Yes.
It's almost like Highlander for Japan.
And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, click occasionally some future podcasts and little pause videos.
Absolutely. And this did not disappoint. I have to say, this anime didn't disappoint. Just from the pictures, you knew it was going to be high action, high energy, interesting, crazier than anything you've seen before. And then you saw the trailer and it was like, oh my gosh, I got to see this. And I have not been disappointed. It has been everything and more what I expected it to be. Oh, and thank you for joining us today.
Yes.
Blue Lock is, like, for me, the sports anime of the season. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And it's hilarious in a way because the last big sports anime was Haikyuu. And you look at that show, and yes, it's a different sport, volleyball. And that was more about teamwork and camaraderie and friendship. And it was so just like, it was so touching and it felt real that you ended up loving it, even if you weren't into sports or into the sport in general. You just really loved everyone together. Well, they made sure for this show and Blue Lock, no, screw that. You all in it for yourselves. Screw that person. You don't have friends. You here to win.
Yes.
You have a team, but you're here to win.
And they start them out with team building first, but it was to kind of weed out the ones who were able to do more than the others. So it was used as a sifter.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I seen that any show, whether it was Western or anime ever, where they used the teamwork building to sift out the ones who were going to be better alone.
Right.
So that was something really different.
Right.
So one of the reasons that Rascal was mentioning how great, the great press that this anime got is because of the soccer championship that was taking place. The great thing is that the author of this book actually designed the jerseys for the Japanese soccer team. Mm-hmm. And that blew up on Twitter. And then they had this on concurrently as the championships were airing. So it was just fantastic. It was like one of the best marketing ploys I've ever seen.
Right. And that's why it ended up being one of the bigger animes of the season. And it came out in January. So it was right out the gate with that and Tomo-chan, Haikar, Buddy Days. Everyone had an anime to watch in the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. And this was really at the top because of, like you said, all marketing and how it's different from watching Haikyuu and Kuroko's basketball and other sports anime. It's in a league of its own. You've never seen really anything this intense. They are intense. We've seen where they have intense about literally anything on the planet that's a hobby or a talent or a sport. There's always someone fired up and takes it to the very core. But they take it to even further down the core, and it's intense, and they're rabid, and it makes you really, if you're not competitive, you probably won't want to play soccer with them.
Now, the main character, Isaki, I think that's his name. If
yeah.
it's not right, let me know.
I hope it's not someone else. Yeah.
You know who he is. He's on all the posters. He's got the big blue eyes, the giant. He's got the kind of page boy hair. Not page boy. He's got kind of the Beatles haircut. Mm-hmm. And that's all I can think about. A shag, yeah. The shag haircut. Here's the thing. What is brilliant about this anime is it's the job of the writer to make you understand why the main character stands out from everyone else, because when you start watching this, you've got all these interesting characters that are phenoms in their own right. A lot of them are competitive. A lot of them are stubborn, bullheaded, crazy, arrogant, condescending. Some of them are ASSholes. But the job the writer has decided to take on is to make you understand why he stands out and why he should be number one. I thought that was interesting because it makes me think about MAJ, because the same thing happens with Deku.
Right.
Why does he deserve to be the #1 hero? Why is he going to be the #1 hero? And it's like, why is Isagi going to be the #1 soccer player in Japan?
Right.
And each episode you get to see more and more. You hear his mental dialogue out loud. You see how he interacts with the other players, whether it's a team or individually. You see he still maintains his own personality despite all the crap that's going on. Now, there's one episode that he gets crazy and you think he's going to lose his mind. He becomes a monster.
Oh my God.
And you're like, is this him? Oh my gosh, is he changing? What the heck? But at the end of the episode, he comes back to his senses.
Right.
But he's a great character. And here's the thing, you don't know crap about him.
No.
You know nothing about him, yet you still love this character and you want him to end up being Japan's biggest player.
Right. And every once in a while, there are a little bit of backstory episodes. The first one or two just show you about them, why they want to be the winners of the World Cup, and what are they putting their money into to get some of their players out there to even be close to being champion, and about how Blue Lock's made, and the individual soccer players from different stats coming together at this place to try to win. And yeah, like there's like 24, I think, episodes. So there's a lot of time to see a bunch of games and matches coming on. And only a few episodes really have backstory in them. Whether it be a dedicated episode, half an episode, or just a few minutes as someone is about to make a shot, you suddenly get their backstory. So I guess they're trying to find the right places within it to show you the stories that don't slow down the episode.
Now, Muneyuki Kaneshiro does a great job in writing this. Because again, the job is to get you to understand why Isagi is the one who should be the #1 soccer hero in Japan.
Right.
And it's really, really interesting. Now, whether you see it subbed or dubbed, it's just as exciting.
Yeah.
And to me, that reminds me of MHA, because no matter how you see it, whether it's subbed or dubbed, it's fantastic. And this has the same quality. It's absolutely amazing both ways. The only thing is, when you're watching it subbed, you end up having the subtitles go really fast, and they start putting it at the top and the bottom really quickly. So if you're so busy trying to read the sub, you miss out on the action, so you either have to suffer, either reading the sub has to suffer, or watching the action has to suffer. So after watching over half of it sub, we decided to switch to dub, so we can see all the action and hear the voice actors.
Right.
And you got a great voice acting English cast. You got Rico Fajardo, Aaron Desmuki, and you can hear them. You know it's them, Aaron Campbell. You can hear them, and you know these people as soon as you hear them.
Right.
And they've got some interesting characters besides Shigiri, Missy. You've got Bakura, who says there's a monster inside of him. And finally, we got to see the episode where that is explained, because before we were like, is this kind of crazy? And then you got to understand what he meant by there's a monster inside of him.
Right.
And in case you're not sure which one it is, it's the one with the two-tone hair with the 2 ponytails.
Right. And they made sure all of them are really unique in design, in personality, in voice, in skills, and where their best traits are. But the thing they all have in common is that they love soccer to an unhealthy degree. It's about the only thing they all have in common, and they all can't get along sometimes. And that's really highlighted when they have a little short segment after the episode's over called Additional Time, where they're just kind of low quality animated shorts or skits where it's just funny bits of them when they're not practicing, when they're kind of talking, or they're eating, or they're playing on strategies and things, and they just kind of talk, and you see what crazy crap they say to each other.
Yes.
And one of my favorites of that is they have a guy in there that ends up being very important when it comes to telling information about the players within the team. And they sort of make a joke out of it at the end when they get to the skit. And a few of the players talking about what's the best thing to have at breakfast: rice, like traditional Japanese, or the bread, like or is it more filling? They were arguing about this for whatever reason. They were arguing about it, and then the guy came out and they asked, "Okay, you're gonna be a tiebreaker. Do you go with traditional Japanese rice for breakfast, or do you go with bread? It has to be rice. It better be rice." And then he thought about it. He said, actually, it's cornflakes and milk. You traitor! How dare you betray your country? And it says, so he wants the American breakfast no one even has anymore?
I should have known you were going to bring that up. Because you laughed at that and I've been watching a few times. They have those, it's like the Taisho Period Taisho secrets at the end of Demon Slayer. And most of them are fun. Right. And they are hilarious, and sometimes even when it's being really high action and intense, you have these fun tidbits at the end that really are fun.
Yes.
So I want to say that a lot of the titles also for the episodes are really interesting. They are just as interesting as the episodes. I would just want to mention a few, like Dream. Okay, that's pretty simple. Monster, Soccer Zero, To Be Reborn, I'm Sorry, Rush, The Formula of a Goal. Each one kind of tells you what the episode is about, but they're pretty simple. They're not formulaic. They're not trying to have puns. They're not being puns on song titles and things.
They're not sentence-long titles.
Right, and I like the title names. So that's also interesting for me. But the animation itself is fantastic. The colors are bold. I really love all of the official art that I see is just fantastic. I would put it all up on my wall if I had it. I absolutely love it. Now, I already love soccer, but this makes me love it even more. It's like Haikyuu. I love volleyball. I love playing volleyball. And Haikyuu made me love volleyball even more. Remember why I love it so much. Right. Soccer is like, oh man, I wish soccer was like this in real life. Soccer games are great, but man, if it could be like this. And I think that the Japanese team was really inspired by the manga and the anime. Maybe they got to see it before they played.
Maybe,
because they were not playing games.
Right? And they make sure you know that this is not... Yeah, you said it's not a game. It's not for publicity. It's not to get attention. It's not a ratings trap, marketing strategy. No, they really want to be the best in the world, and they constantly compare themselves to other players from around the world, like Pele and others. And then they even get to the end of the season where they actually have a few soccer players from other parts of the world, and it's assumed you don't know what the heck they're saying in English, so we gotta have like 3 different subtitles on the screen, and that will get distracting whether you're dub or sub.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I know they're foreign, but we don't have. It's not like they're speaking alien.
Right. It's not in Azuma.
Right, and they all look really bizarre.
Aries 11.
Right, and they all look really bizarre. I got one from Brazil, one from the UK, one from Spain, and yes, they all look strange as they're all from Japan. That's just the stuff.
But this is just really a great anime. And the best news we got is that not only is there going to be a second season, but there's going to be a movie focused on Nagi.
Right.
So it's just on the episode Nagi is going to be a film based on that. So it's like, wow. That was just like music to my ears. I can't wait to see the second season. And the movie, if it's not as fantastic as the first, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I just knew looking at it, look, a lot of people knew this was going to be great. Especially the episode Donkey. That was one of the greatest episodes. I mean,
don't be tricked by the title.
See Sagi come into his own. You got to see one of the major players who was a jerk who kept calling people donkeys. Kind of get his comeuppance and be shown that he wasn't all that he thought he was.
Right.
Baru. And
Baru, you think you're all that, but you're really not.
No. And that was one of the best episodes. Absolutely one of the best episodes of the series.
Yes.
And there wasn't a boring episode. You had like a couple that were
lagged.
kind of like a lot of talking, more dialogue.
And those are the ones you kind of like, okay, are these gonna be over yet? I guess they need to give you a break for a minute because there's so much running and screaming and everything that just like they need to sit down for 5 minutes, have an episode where it's just talking and strategy, because I think people are gonna feel tired if they're not used to stuff like this.
It's great. It's high energy. It's full of action. This is the best, again, sports anime of the year. I'm gonna say that. The season of the year. I really want to read the manga as well. Again, it's written by Muneyuki Kaneshiro, and the manga itself is illustrated by Yosuke Nomura. So I'm really excited about eventually getting manga volumes and reading it, because I want to see if it's 1-to-1 or if they added some extras in for the anime,
right?
Like some of the other series do. Now this is considered in the genre of sports and thriller.
Right, because of, you know how scary they can be? Yeah, that would feel like, I'm so thrilling about that. Oh, gosh.
And as of March of this year, this manga has sold over 24 million copies, making one of the best-selling manga series of the year. And Blue Lock actually won the Kodansha Manga Award.
Yes,
congrats. So, yeah. And you can't get better than this in a sports anime this year.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. It's available exclusively on Crunchyroll to watch. If you have seen Blue Lock, let us know in the comments below. Were you like me? Just by seeing the picture, you knew it was going to be great. And on top of that, the intros are bangers and the outros are bangers as well.
Yes.
I mean, this thing has it all.
Yes.
This is like one of the most perfect animes to come out for the season.
Yes.
And I can't wait for season 2.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation, including more Blue Lock Season 2 and its movie.
Absolutely. It may be on Netflix outside of the U.S.
Yeah, it's usually a lot of the animes go to out here.
Right, but if you're in the U.S., it's available exclusively on Crunchyroll to watch.
Right.
And who is your favorite character? You know ours is the Sagi.
Right.
Absolutely. And I like Missy too.
Right.
And let us know who your favorite characters are in the comments below. And thank you so much for supporting us, for watching and joining us. We really appreciate you. And thank you for allowing us to share our joy with you. If we are not already subscribed to you, let us know in the comments below. Put your channel name and a link and we'll check it out.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching. Rask Entertainment.
And Mom Entertainments.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
掴み取るため選ぶジャッジメント